Hold on, let me turn my hearing aid up.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome!
Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything and Chill Show. I'm Rob.
I'm Sean.
And this week we are talking about the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, more Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and
The Invincible show on, it's a TV series on Prime Video.
And you know what? What a surprise that was.
Yes.
I'm not too familiar with the comic lore, and I know you studied it more this week, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But first, what I watched this week, and I was excited to watch, was the first episode of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers. And I was such a fan of the series, the movies growing up as a kid. When the first one came out, I went to the theater to see it. Second one came out, went to the theater to see it. When the third one came out, I actually saw it on video. It wasn't DVD yet, it was video. But when I heard about this coming, I was like, oh, what are they going to do? Is it going to be like a reboot, a recreation? But I'll tell you what, this episode was great. It led into it. It continues the story of Gordon Bombay, who was the coach, the original coach of the Ducks. He starred the Ducks. But the Ducks now, in this new century, have become like the Hawks in the previous Mighty Ducks series, where now they're the powerhouse and they're kind of like the not the bad guys, but yeah, you know what I mean? They're all about winning and not about having fun. And Gordon has lost his love for hockey again, and there's a new batch of kids that might need his help. It looks pretty good. And I've heard that some of the original Ducks are going to come back and join the show and do some cameos. So I'm really excited to watch that. I know Sean doesn't really watch the Mighty Ducks. He doesn't know about it, but that's okay. And secondly, let's get right into the Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode 2.
That was really good. I think it was actually better than the first episode, in my opinion.
I think it was too. I mean, it's hard because they both were good.
Again, I really love how Marvel is taking its time to shine some light on what's going on with these two characters. And there are more characters that they didn't get to really discover, or they didn't get to really explain as much or show as much. You always see the main Avengers, but you don't get to see the backgrounds of all these characters. So doing these shows have been really interesting, and seeing the multiple Captain Americas that you're seeing from the new, what was Isaiah?
Well, he was never really Captain America, but Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah.
And here's what I like about this, okay? The problem with the MCU is that, not the MCU, but fans of it, they tend to think that Steve Rogers is the only Captain America.
Yeah.
Okay? And in the comics, it's not true. This, if you're going to have a Captain America series of movies, the first Avenger, the Winter Soldier, and then Civil War, this is like leading into like a Captain America 4. This series alone, I mean, you don't make a Captain America 4 because this is it right here. They are giving every comic lore for the Captain America series that you could possibly give in, where you have Bucky Barnes, you have Sam Wilson, you have the talks of Isaiah Bradley, you have John Walker as Captain America / U.S. agent, and he looked a lot better.
A lot better.
In this episode, I don't know what they did, if they changed it in between time or whatever, but he looked a lot better. I actually like his character. I liked how they introduced Battlestar, his battle buddy, and I don't know where it's going to go from there. I don't really want to get into any spoilers with this one because we know people have not watched it yet. They wait for it. They binge watch. But it's really good. So if you're not watching it yet, tune into it, man, because it's such a different feel from WandaVision. You feel like you're watching a short Marvel movie. Yeah. It's 45 minutes long or so, 49 minutes long, and it feels like you want more at the end, and it's just turned into a great series.
Exactly. The entire series so far, it makes you, like right now, it's making me want more action, because the way it's really diving into these characters and the lore, you only get a few action scenes here and there. Like, last episode was the first episode was pretty action-packed. It started out with action. There was some action in the middle, and it almost ended. I think it ended with some action, right? No,
not ended with some
not
action,
ended,
but there was some in between.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot. You know what I mean? The beginning sequence was your biggest.
Yeah, exactly.
And then introduction of the Flag Smashers had some action in it and things like that. And the flashback with Bucky, you know, a little bit of that. But this one was a lot more action packed. Basically, they go on a mission, and the outcome, and they find some things out. But you know, the lore of the comic book of Captain America is really in here, with the villains being there, Zemo coming back, Batroc the Leaper being in it, and also the Power Broker showing up, and the Flag Smasher. So you have like 4, you know, well, the Flag Smasher was a villain. And you see these, I don't know if it's going to turn out they have a leader or the girl's the leader. I don't know how they're going to do it, what happens there. But you have 4 big Captain America villains right there. You know, and it didn't overpower it. It didn't feel like, oh, there's too many villains, there's too much going on. No, it's carrying good. And you're seeing, like I said, the continuation of what's happening. This is 6 months after the blip, the coming back of the people who disappeared. So I'm excited to see this next episode this week. I think it's going to be good. And remember, after this week, we're halfway there. It's only 6 episodes long. So,
really?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know 6.
6
I thought
episodes.
It was the same as WandaVision, like
Nope.
8.
6 episodes long. That's all it's going to be. And actually, WandaVision was 9.
Yeah, right at 9.
So, I mean, that's how most of the Disney Plus series are. Is they're 9 episodes long. That's how The Mandalorian was. But to see this is different. And this is something that I've told Sean that I believe is going to happen in the future, is that you're going to see more and more of the MCU stuff be put into series form for these streaming services, because it's more successful, especially now with the way we go to the theater and not go to the theater, let's say, and we stay at home. It's more successful to do it that way, and then maybe put out a film in between here and there. We're going to see these next 2 phases, how they change that out with, you know, the streaming service and where they come from with Disney Plus. So let's get right into Invincible.
Oh, I love Invincible.
Let's talk about the background real quick. Invincible is a comic that came out, you said, in 2003,
2003.
right? By Robert Kirkman, who also created The Walking Dead. Now, if you're a fan of The Walking Dead, that's great. I just actually got back into The Walking Dead, watching the new episodes. I thought it, you know, did a nice slump for a little bit, and now it's coming right back up with the return of Maggie and things like that. So I'm into it. But for the Walking Dead fans, you'll like Invincible because the voices is cast by more than half of the Walking Dead cast. Steve Ewan, who played Glenn, is the main character, and you have a lot of cameos from people who were in The Walking Dead. So it was pretty good to see them come through and probably do a favor for Robert Kirkman getting this done. Now, this is a cartoon. It's animated. It's not live action. It's not a cartoon to watch with your children. It's not a children's show. It's not something that, you know, the family can sit down and watch and be comfortable watching with little ones. But it's not that bad. It's not The Boys. The Boys is really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah. So this is like in between. Teenagers could watch it. It's very violent. Let's just say that. That's how it is. It's very violent. It's almost like a mix of Superman and Homelander together, because he's not so bad, but he's bad. And there's something going on with him where it's a mystery on the show where you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so this, what I've researched, and I've been looking at the arcs for the show and everything. This is mainly based off of, I think, their first issue, which is the Family Matters issue for the Invincible series. And this is where you see, well, are we talking about spoilers?
We can give vague. Don't get too much.
Too much. Okay.
We can tell the lore of it, like how Omni-Man, who his son is Invincible. That's his hero name, Invincible.
Yeah.
And Omni-Man is like a takeoff of Superman.
Yes.
Where he's from a planet called Valerium, right?
Viltrum.
Viltrum. And on that planet, I thought it was cool because instead of not having powers like Kryptonians have, they all have powers, and their job is to go into the galaxy and defend people who don't have a defender, kind of like the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
So I thought of that kind of combining those two lores together was pretty cool.
But yes, so this has a lot of similarities to DC and the Marvel universe, but mainly when you look at it, it's mainly like Justice League. Like, so
Right.
you have the...
I mean, it was a real... The only one that I didn't see was a Green Lantern type.
Green Lantern, yes. But everyone you saw, it's called the... what is it? The Globe... What are they called? The Guardians of the Globe. The Guardians of the Globe.
Right.
And you have Darkwing, who's basically like the Batman.
Yep.
You have Red Rush, who's basically the Flash. You have War Woman, who's Wonder Woman. Aquarius, who's a fish, who's an actual fish that controls the water. It's really cool.
Aquaman.
You have Martian Man, who's obviously Martian Manhunter.
Yep.
Green Ghost, which I think can also be... Well, this is a lot more, but you have...
But you have your main seven in there.
Yeah.
Red Rush is the Flash.
You have on another team called the Teen Team, which is basically like the Teen Titans.
Yep.
You have Adam Eve, who's the equivalent of Starfire.
Yep.
You have Duplicate. I don't know who you can really call that to. Maybe the Raven, but not even.
Yeah.
Rexplode, I think, would be close to a mix of Speedy and Beast Boy, because he has the brashness and the arrogance of a...
Power off.
He has the brashness and an arrogance of a Speedy, but also has... it's like a mix. I don't know. And then you have Robot, who's basically the cyborg of the team and is a leader.
Right.
He's more AI-based. He's not half human, but he is a full-on fledged robot who also leads the team. And then you also have Invincible, who's like the Superboy. Watching this show is basically like if you gave Superman or Superboy or Spider-Man their own more teenage or adult version of a show and let them do what they wanted to do. And it's good for people my age or people or adults, because you get to really connect with this series that's outside of all the known and big series.
Right.
And it's in some cases more relatable, because you see this kid that has these powers randomly bestowed on him, and he's trying to balance that as seeing his dad, wanting to be his dad, who's, again, the equivalent of Superman. The only thing he doesn't have is, from what we know, I don't think he gets his powers from a sun. And he also doesn't have laser vision, but everything else, or heat vision, sorry. Everything
he doesn't seem to have a weakness like kryptonite
either.
So,
but he is very vulnerable to taking damage. If you hit him enough times, he will go down.
Right.
But he is almost immortal, actually. So, but he...
Well, if you hit him, if another superpowered being hits him. Just like Superman, though.
Exactly, yeah.
You know,
Just
Superman's not invincible to the point where he can't be hurt. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
But it takes a lot more to hurt Superman. It doesn't take a ton more to hit Omni-Man, in my opinion, from what we've seen.
Okay.
Because Omni-Man can obviously... He's bled after one hit. What is it? War Woman hit him, and he bled. So that's not how it's always for it. Superman takes a lot of hits to bleed. It takes someone very powerful to hit Superman for him to bleed. It's usually the likes of Darkseid or Doomsday. Someone like Wonder Woman at full strength could do that.
There's a lot of DC lore going on there, even with the Damian Blood, who is like he's a demon, but he's like a John Constantine.
Yep.
And he's trying to figure out.
It's like a mix of Hellboy and John Constantine together.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is.
So you have this...
And then you also have this secret government organization that runs them, but it's kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D.
Kind of like S.H.I.E.L.D., yes.
You know? Because there's not really anything like that in the DC world with I mean, they have stories of the CIA and stuff like that, but they don't have a government organization like S.H.I.E.L.D. in the DC universe.
But what's cool about Omni-Man is that the twist here is where he's not like Superman, is where he is sent to protect the planet, but in the comics, what happens is he takes over after. So when we're seeing in the show, sorry, but this is important to the lore and everything, when you're seeing him take down the Guardians of the Globe, okay?
Yeah, because you see that right off in the first episode.
When you see that happen, it's because now in the future, what's built in the comics and the lore is that he explains to Mark, that he's came to take over, and what they end up doing is they adjust themselves and then they take over the other planets, which is really interesting because everyone sees, once in a while a bad Superman or in this case, you see people like
Right.
from The Boys,
Homelander,
who's
Yeah.
just straight up brutal. But this guy puts on the hero persona and then starts doing these things behind the scenes, and the Shield or the investigative or the whatever
Right.
comes through and is looking and seeing who's doing it, and then obviously they're most likely going to find out who's doing it. But a lot of things here are very interesting. They're very relatable. Yes, some of their ideas are based off of certain DC characters, but it's still good to see that this is something separate that anyone can enjoy. It's again not the most. You can't get your 8-year-old and 9-year-old and sit down and watch
No.
this.
But the animation is
But
good.
the animation is great.
It reminds me of watching like, and I don't mean like and the quality wise, but like watching the old superhero cartoons.
Yeah, it
you know,
really
it's
does.
not like anime. It's and I'm not a big fan of anime. I know people are gonna go, but I'm not a big fan of anime. I'm not a big fan of taking superhero stuff and making this. And it looks like a comic book come to life.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I mean. Like when you read the
it really
comic
does.
panel, it looks like, because I've read a couple of the issues, I haven't got into it. It was right in my transition of getting out of comics, back into comics type stuff. But, and this is from Image Comics. This is, Image is kind of like, number 3 out of the big, you always have Marvel and DC, and then Image is coming, right behind them with a lot of their stuff. They did The Walking Dead, of course, which has been the hottest comic for the longest time, and with the television show and stuff like that. And to see even the creator from that doing something different, you know what I mean? With doing, instead of a zombie apocalypse, doing this world. And it's hard, and I gotta say, I've never written a comic, but it's gotta be hard to come up with a hero or come up with some type of villain and not have characteristics of other ones that are out there, because everything's been done, I think, even names. So it's very hard, and we've seen that where Marvel and DC have similar characters. We've seen that, so I don't think we should take this like, oh, this is a ripoff of DC, or it's a ripoff. I think it's a way of telling a story that somebody might have been a fan of DC and said, hey, what if this happened? Marvel Comic used to do that series, and they're going to be doing that television series coming up soon called What If. And they used to do a series like, what if the Hulk killed Wolverine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or what if Steve Rogers worked for Hydra, which we saw, you know what I mean?
saw.
Right.
I think that was after Civil War, right?
Right. But I'm saying, but what if was a big thing. So to me, to do a show like Invincible or a comic like Invincible is almost like a what if. Somebody who was a fan of Justice League, a fan of DC, fan of Marvel said, hey, what if Superman really wasn't sent to be a savior, but to be a conqueror? And what if he had a son? And that's what you see. You see it kind of played out in a way that, so don't take it as like, a lot of people will watch it and go, oh, this is a ripoff of DC. Oh, if they're not familiar with it. But don't do that. There's a real good storyline here. There's a building of a character. There's a lot of good comedy in it also, too.
Yes. It's not too, it's not so comedy riddled where you get like, oh my goodness, it's
Right.
joke after joke. But it's the perfect amount of it.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
did
really
a good job with this. I mean,
I love it. I wasn't invested in the Invincible series until my dad told me about it. He's like, you should go watch it. And then I watched the first episode. I'm like, okay, I gotta research this because I'm starting to. It feels like I'm watching. Again, it feels like you're watching a Superboy or a Spider-Man, a darker take on that, and you're
Right.
seeing them develop. You're literally seeing him get bullied in high school, and then you see him standing up to the bully. He's
Right.
like, hit me.
Right.
And then he starts hitting him, and he can't hit him anymore.
Right.
And so then he just runs away. Like, you're seeing these types of things that are so relatable. He wants to use his powers right away. He wants to go and fight everyone. He has the trashy costume. And then, but see, the great thing that I love about this is that his dad is so open to it. He's not like.
But also, that's what his
And
dad
this-
wants.
yeah.
And in this one, what's great is that Omni-Man is not like hiding who he is.
Exactly.
Everybody knows who Omni-Man is,
Yes.
and everybody knows probably that his dad is Omni-Man, because it's not like it's where he's
Well,
Clark.
the teen team didn't know. The team was shocked when he said that was his dad.
But what I'm saying is that it's not like Omni-Man has a Clark Kent.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's Omni-Man. He walks around. It's not like he's hiding his face.
Exactly.
People know he's Omni-Man. And that's all I mean.
Not only that, but the super abilities seem to be very prevalent and not really hidden at all with anyone. I mean, I know you see Mark doing it, but I mean, a lot of people don't seem to be hiding from it.
Right. It seems to be a world where they know super ability. They know about aliens. They know about...
And they're comfortable with it.
Right.
Almost.
Like, there's no problem with it. That you're either a hero or a villain.
And I like that because you see... And it's good to make storylines where people aren't comfortable with it. As you see in Civil War. As you see the Registration Act. People want to see who you are. They can't trust you. They want the government to work for them. But you see Omni-Man, again, take a Superman characteristic. You wouldn't see Superman work with the government. Well, I mean, you did. But... he's always, for the longest time, tried to not be a weapon of the government.
Right, but he's always... Right.
He's not... the difference is he's not...
Right, I understand. He doesn't work exclusively for an agency.
But he would not mind working for the government.
Right.
But it seems
if
that...
it was the right thing.
Exactly.
If it's not... Right.
It seems that Omni-Man really doesn't want to work for the government at all. And I think, obviously, that has to do with what his positioning is on the planet.
Right.
But... it seems that he's completely against working with the government and has done so and hated it.
I can't wait to get into more of this. It did premiere with 3 episodes, and then 1 episode, per week, or if they do another. I don't know how many.
I would love to do that. Please do that.
This is what they're doing. Like, this is a big thing, and a lot of series have gotten away from putting the whole series out there because it gets the viewer to come back every week, and I don't mind it because it gives you something to look forward to. Because I know for some series, I'll sit there and watch the whole thing and be like, oh, that was great, but now what do I gonna do for the next? You know what I mean? Then you wait for the next series or the next season or next whatever to come out, and I think this is a way for it to space it out and all that. And I think that's all we're gonna say about Invincible this week because I want people to watch it, and we'll talk about it more on this show. And the one thing I do want to say before we end this show is, and I don't want to get too big into it.
Okay.
Flash is horrible.
Oh my goodness.
The CW Flash is horrible right now.
Hold on.
Did you watch this week's episode?
I didn't watch this week's
yet.
Okay.
So don't comment. Don't comment.
I've seen.
I'll tell you what.
Some, but
This is a lead-in for next week. We're gonna talk about the rise and fall of the Flash on the CW. That's what we're gonna talk about. Okay. One of the main subjects next week will be the rise and fall of the Flash on the CW because you get caught up. You watch next.
I am. I've seen some of this. I haven't.
No, but watch this next one, and then we'll watch next week's episode.
Okay. Yes.
And then we'll come back to you guys, and we're going to talk about the rise and fall of the Flash on the CW. Okay. So until next week, we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
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 Okay, see you later.